is up, y'all? Michael Hernandez here, MLH Media, and we're here today with a very, very special guest, a man that has been battling his way on the Ultimate Fighter this past year, Bopo Joseph Morales, a man that was formerly a champion, not only for 559 fights, but also for A1 Combat. How you doing today, my man?
Good, brother. Good. Thanks for having me.
An awesome pleasure to get to have you on. I would say one of Elk Grove's finest over there, kind of holding it down. How has it been getting back to being back at home base, man? I know you have a lot of responsibilities once you're back. You're not only a coach, but you're also working for the Sacramento State Combat U program as their kind of jiu-jitsu kind of professor, one of the main guys around over there. How's it been just getting back to it and getting back to the normal 9 to 5 and the daily schedule?
So it's been a good kind of integration. At first I was just kind of worried. You kind of get used to the routine of being on the show. There's not really like any worry or stress or anything. You're just kind of thinking about fighting and food and sleep. That's literally what you're doing. You kind of get used to the routine for the 6 weeks, but it's good to be back and enjoying the family time and coaching and teaching and stuff like that. Being back and everybody's excited to, get back to work.
Do you kind of miss the fact that you're able to? I remember speaking to a couple of TUF alumni, such as Cody Gibson. They say you're able to kind of just order anything in terms of groceries and stuff like that. Is there anything else you maybe miss from the TUF household?
Being able to take a nap without your kids interrupting is a big one. So, like you kind of you have so much extra time to kill and relax. And I definitely do miss taking naps. The food was always good to be able to order whatever you want and not have to worry about, oh, I have to pay for this or I have to pay for that. Like you just order whatever you want. It's there the next day and you don't have to worry about it. So yeah, the house was sometimes quiet, sometimes it's loud. I'd say like a little bit towards the end of being in the house, you kind of get tired of everybody's little habits and you know, you just kind of want to go home and it makes you a little bit more frustrated. I think, it doesn't help that everybody's weight cutting and everybody's going to fight each other, so you're kind of like on edge the whole time.
Yeah, and speaking a little bit about that experience, first getting onto the show, you were the first fight to go ahead and begin the show. How did that kind of feel? I know obviously for the fans watching at home, it was the first fight for us. Don't know exactly how the filming and everything went on, but how was that, getting that experience, getting drafted? I mean, just that whole process, because like how you said, it's not a very long time to get everything going, and then bam, you're just right in the cage, getting things going and getting back to action.
So, I had been, kind of like on a layoff for like the last year and a half, with injuries and stuff like that. It was good to just be the first fight. I was the first fight in the whole house. So, it was good to just be there and kind of set the tone for the team and just kind of how things go and like for the season. So yeah, I was pretty excited. I was happy. I didn't have to wait for anything. We kind of just, we showed up and were able to just kind of get it going right away. So like I didn't have time to be nervous. I didn't have time to think about, some outside things, and I was able to just kind of go in there and do my thing.
And speaking about going in there and doing your thing, I mean, you were able to go ahead and show off some of that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game, but a lot of people that have watched you on the regional scene, and I mean, even your eye favorites, kind of spoken about you for years now, saying you've been one of the ground students, been one of the guys that has been with them from the ground up. How's that been now to not only be able to display that on the regional level, and obviously you were in the UFC prior to that as well, but then get to do it on The Ultimate Fighter, a show that has so much history, and then obviously you got to do it in front of DC. I got to see your guys' kind of chitter chatter back and forth throughout the show.
Yeah.
I mean, describe that experience overall of the first win and then just getting straight back into it, man, because like how I said, it's got to be a crazy experience, right?
So like yeah, it was nice because I've been working hard I'm not in in the background, and I kind of rolled into the house with like the most experience, but like as a dark horse. Like there was a lot more other favorites on the show, guys that were coming in with a lot of hype. Like Chapolin was probably like one of the top prospects like in the country right now for the flyweight division because he's the LFA champion, and he's coming off of like some knockout wins and stuff like that. So going in there, I knew I wanted to be the first one to fight. I had told after I got picked, I told Chill like I want to be the first one to fight, and he kind of just gave me the option of who we wanted to pick, and he didn't want me to fight Chapolin at first, so it was cool that he let me do that, and he had the confidence in me to do that. And then DC, he was cool the whole time. He had a lot of fun. We were going back and forth a lot. He was talking a lot of shit. I think it was just because I wasn't on his team. He wanted me to be on his team, and he knew I
Oh,
was really
okay.
good. And so he was just kind of getting in my head and trying to mess with me a little bit.
The old classic DC kind of mind games. We've seen that before. We may have seen that
Yeah,
once or
yeah.
twice on The Ultimate Fighter, right? But speaking a little bit about those California connections on the show, not only was Daniel Cormier on there, but you also had a little bit of a special kind of corner as well. You had Mason Fowler over there helping you out in the
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu department, man that just most recently won UFC BJJ title. How was that to kind of have him in your corner and somebody that's only a couple of hours away from you over there in Elk Grove? I mean, he's over there in San Jose most of the time, and then getting to go over there and corner you, was that kind of like a funny coincidence? Did you guys know that was going to happen?
Yeah, so like me and Mason, we hit it off pretty well. He kind of realized I had really good jiu-jitsu, and I was always picking his brain, asking him questions about different things and just trying to get as much information. I had no, realization that he was from Fresno, so when we found that out, we kind of were like, oh, we realized why we were getting along so well. I had no idea he had fought for 559 fights. He knew all of my opponents that I had fought in 559 fights. Like
Crazy.
he knew of everybody. And then after the show, we had a seminar. We hosted him, and he came through and taught a lot of my students, and we had some guest schools come by as well. So that was pretty cool. That's a connection that I'm gonna keep connected with. Like Mason's a great dude, and he's really good at jujitsu. I haven't had the opportunity to go visit him in San Jose yet to go train with him, but I'm definitely planning on doing that in the future.
What did you make of the face-off between him and his last opponent over there at UFC BJJ? Did you kind of get
I
to
thought
catch that?
I thought that was hilarious. That's just the type of dude he is. He's always having fun, and he's always joking. And even in the serious situations, like when we are on the show, he was just always having a good time.
No, and speaking about kind of like how you guys shared that background, it must be pretty crazy to know that he, in a way, he was kind of watching your career from the sides, and then you obviously knew of him later on. It's pretty wild how these MMA paths kind of cross over. But speaking a little bit about your path and continuing on, you got to most recently in the show take on Emmanuel Rodriguez, another very hyped up prospect. How was that experience? Like how you said it was your, I believe you kind of stated it was one of your the toughest fight so far in the show. What were your kind of thoughts afterwards? Now getting to see it on TV, now getting the watch party, everybody getting to watch it. What are your thoughts about the Rodriguez fight?
So it kind of didn't go as planned. I wanted to finish him, and watching it, it was the first time seeing it. So like I never got to see the fight like after it happened. So watching it, my brain immediately was like, "Wow, why are you doing this? Why were you doing that? What were you thinking here? Like, how could I improve on this?" So like, I was just kind of taking notes, and everything that I've been doing already is just kind of like, well, like, how could I fix that? How can I make this look better? Watching it back, I knew I definitely won. After the fight, I knew I definitely won. I wasn't really nervous about the decision. I feel like the second round was probably the closest round. And if you watch back, the first minute and a half, he was winning, and then 3.5 minutes of me taking him down and outstriking him on the feet. There's a lot of people that were like, "Oh, it's a robbery, it's a robbery." No, it was a close fight. It wasn't a robbery. Anybody that's educated in MMA is gonna be able to see that, you know, make the logical decision, not the emotional one, to watch it. So I
And
won
I
the first
believe
round.
it was
Yeah,
the
I
only
won the
fight so
first
far this
round.
season to go 3 rounds, correct? So I mean that itself goes to show you it was a very close fight, right?
Yeah, well, so we found out later that week that all of the semifinal fights were gonna be 3 rounds, and if it was a draw, it was gonna go to a fourth round.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Had that been introduced on Tough before?
You know what? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I honestly was like, well, if it's 2 rounds, the fight would have been over. You
Yeah,
know what
no,
I mean?
that's
Like if it if
interesting.
if if it was gonna
Wow.
be 2 rounds, the fight would have been over. We wouldn't have gone a third. And then people are gonna be what? Oh, it was a robbery. No, it was not a robbery. It was a close fight. The fight would have ended. You could only control what you could control. Eminel is a very skilled opponent. He's very tough. We knew that going into the fight. The game plan was to just keep him on his back foot because he keeps coming forward with that pressure, and that's exactly what happened. Is anytime we let him get that pressure off, he was throwing combos and firing off big shots, and I just wanted to keep him on his back foot and stuff like that and try to, push the pace on him a little bit. That was his first fight that ever went to decisions. that just goes to show how tough of an opponent he is. He's 5-0, all finishes in the first round. Never gone 3 rounds, never gone past the second. It was it's a tough opponent.
I mean, I would like to say just Mexican warriors, man, going at it in that cage. I love that kind of embrace that you guys had after as well. It was absolutely amazing to kind of see the sportsmanship. I mean, getting to speak about now going forward, you are taking on Alibi Idris over there in, I believe you're going to be over there in Chicago, correct?
I don't want to confirm anything yet until they announce it, but yeah, I am gonna fight Alibi, which is confirmed. I don't know the location or the date. I can't say completely, but it's rumored to be out there. So I've been ready. I've been taking care of business and working hard and just improving on what I need to improve on and being ready for everything that Alibi's gonna be throwing at me.
And getting to watch him a little bit on the show, is that kind of a bit of a different experience compared to what you're usually used to in, I mean, the UFC scene? You know, you get called up to the UFC, you may watch the guy on UFC Fight Pass or whatever, but you personally have got to watch this guy in the cage before him. Is that a little bit different of a kind of phenomenon going on now that you've gotten to watch Alibi perform in person? You obviously are very in close proximity, now getting that time away. How has that kind of experience now been preparing for this fight camp?
I watched his fights before a little bit, and just to kind of study and to see him back on the show and see his episodes. It's you watch it live in person to be able to watch his fights live in person, and you just kind of see like, oh, okay, this is what he likes to do. This is his habits, and you know, you just try to learn those and take advantage of them.
And for you, what is the biggest message that you're kind of going into this fight with? I know that you're somebody that obviously has a plethora of experience, obviously being in the UFC before, regional experience. What is the kind of message that you want to not only show to the fans, but also to the fighters that have kind of been climbing their way up the regional scene and have been looking for a shot like this? What is your kind of message to everybody that's going to be watching possibly in a couple of weeks?
So, my message to the other flyweights is just, be on the lookout for me. I'm one of the best guys in the flyweight division. I believed that for a long time. Even when I wasn't in the UFC, I believed that, and that I deserved to be there. And, I want to go out there and prove that, that I'm somebody that they need to look out for. Like, you can't look past me.
Joseph Morales, Alivi Idris going to go ahead and be in the TUF season 33 finale, man. An absolute pleasure in getting to speak to you today so far, Joseph. I know you got a lot going on in terms of your everyday life. You got coaching, you got obviously combat you, like how we mentioned, going on. Was there anything you kind of wanted to mention in this final sector of the call today? Like how I said, I know you got a lot going on, a lot of people that support you. Anything you want to mention?
Yeah, be on the lookout for Combat U BJJ, guys. If anybody's interested in, coming and competing for us, or, you know, contact me, contact Hector Fajardo. We're always looking for some new students. Also, Elk Grove Wrestling Academy. Be on the lookout for all the kids out there competing in wrestling and jiu-jitsu. We're trying to take over some scenes, and there's some kids that are, going to be some future champions either in UFC BJJ or being in the UFC or national champions. We got a lot of talent coming out right now.
And man, that has been at the rise over there at Team Alpha Male, and always a great guy to go ahead and watch in that cage. Joseph Bopo Morales, thank you so much for your time today, and obviously best of skill as you look to take on Alibi Idris over there in your TUF Season 33 finale. Best of luck, my man, and of course, best of luck to a former 559 fights champ over there and A1 Combat champ, Michael Hernandez, MLH Media, signing out.